Yes, I'm familiar with Apostle Joshua Selman and his sermons. He is a Nigerian preacher, founder of Koinonia's Eternity Network International and known for deeply spiritual, Bible-based teachings on topics like below is a full original speech in a style similar to the tone, depth, and spiritual atmosphere of Apostle. Like teaching, without mentioning there are moments in the realm of the spirit that do not submit to the general calendar of men. There are windows in time when heaven is unusually attentive, when spiritual traffic intensifies, and when the cries of the hungry are heard with greater precision. The hours between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. are such portals, moments when the body desires rest, but the spirit becomes sensitive, alert, and ready for divine transactions. Now prepare your spirit. Let the weight of God's presence rest upon you. You may be lying down, you may be seated, your eyes may finally close, but let your spirit remain blazing. For some of you, these prayers will break cycles of delay. For others, they will usher you into new seasons. And for many, your dreams will begin to carry messages, instructions, and warnings from heaven. As you whisper these prayers, your eyes may grow heavy, but your spirit becomes louder. Your physical body may sleep, but your inner man remains vigilant. There are nights where one prayer before sleep can achieve what 10 hours of daylight effort cannot accomplish. So tonight, fall asleep inside prayer. Let the hand of God rest on your chest as you drift away. Let the fire of God escort you into your dreams. Wake up tomorrow knowing you did not sleep as a victim. You slept as a warrior. The hours between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. are not ordinary segments of time. They are gates, spiritual intersections, where the activities of the unseen realm intensify. When a person becomes spiritually aware of these moments, their life rises above the predictable cycles that govern ordinary men. This period is a womb of possibilities, a time layered with spiritual sensitivity. It is when distractions are minimized, human activity quiets down, and the whispers of God become clearer to those whose spirits are awake. Everything in creation carries patterns, and the night carries its own language. In these hours, destinies can be shaped, altered, or reinforced depending on who takes advantage of them. There are spiritual transactions that do not happen during the business of the day. The day is loud, noisy, and full of competing voices. But the night exposes the vulnerability of the soul and the openness of the spirit. It is a time when heaven is more attentive to seekers because fewer voices are speaking. Many of the encounters recorded in scripture happened at night, not because God cannot speak in the daytime, but because the night is a canvas where the distractions of the natural are minimized. This is why spiritually sensitive people refuse to treat the night casually. The night is not just for sleeping. It is a battleground and a birthing ground. When you understand this, you stop approaching sleep like an ordinary human being. You begin to see your bedtime as a spiritual posture. The desire to pray at night is not about physical strength, it is about hunger. Hunger gives you the stamina to rise when your flesh is weak. Hunger pulls revelation out of the atmosphere. Hunger opens portals of encounters that your daytime activities may never touch. If you train your spirit to honor these hours, you become a person whose life carries unusual depth. Your footsteps begin to echo in the realm of the spirit. Between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m., the boundaries between the natural and spiritual realms become thinner. The activities of angels, the operations of darkness, the transactions of destiny, and the whispers of God all intensify. It is not a coincidence that many people wake up suddenly around this time without any physical reason. For some, it is an invitation from God. For others, it is an attack from the enemy. But only those who are spiritually trained know how to respond. When you wake up around this time, you must discern, is this a call or is this warfare? Either way, the answer is prayer. This is why many believers who master night prayer begin to experience unusual spiritual clarity. Their dreams become sharper. Their sensitivity increases. Their discernment becomes stronger. They are no longer confused about destiny decisions because they have learned to navigate the hours when heaven is open. In these moments, even a whisper from God can shift your entire life. One instruction received at 1 a.m. can become the key that unlocks a lifetime of favor. One moment of intercession can cancel cycles of failure that have followed your bloodline for generations. These hours also carry a mystery. The enemy loves to take advantage of a believer who sleeps without spiritual coverage. Manipulations, attacks, and projections often intensify at night because many people sleep carelessly, unaware that their dreams are gates. But when a person prays before sleeping, especially within these sensitive hours, they fortify themselves. Their dreams no longer become playgrounds for darkness. They become platforms for divine encounters. The night begins to work for them instead of against them. So when it is said that the 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. window shapes destinies, it is not poetic language. It is a spiritual reality. Those who understand it rise faster, walk clearer, and operate deeper. They do not live like ordinary men because they do not sleep like ordinary men. They treat the night as a sacred corridor, and in return, heaven entrusts them with secrets, strength, and stability. Many believers underestimate the connection between their night hours and the victories they experience during the day. Yet in the realm of the spirit, nothing just happens. What manifests in daylight is often the harvest of seeds planted in secret moments, especially the moments when the world is quiet and the heavens are attentive. Your day is only as powerful as your night. When you understand this, you stop living reactively and begin to live with spiritual strategy. You realize that if you do not secure your night, you will spend your day fighting unnecessary battles. The day is a stage, but the night is the workshop where destinies are constructed. Battles are often won or lost before the sun rises. Many people step into the day already defeated, not because they lack ability, but because their spirit was not fortified in the night. When you sleep without prayer, you allow your day to be shaped by whatever forces were active while your guard was down. The night is full of transactions, some divine, some demonic, and neutrality is impossible. The absence of intentional prayer automatically gives room for influences you did not authorize. When a person prays at night, they are not only speaking into the atmosphere, they are aligning their spirit, commanding their morning, and placing divine authority over the hours ahead. Prayer becomes a spiritual legislation that binds the activities of darkness and loosens the influence of favor, wisdom, and direction. This is why some people wake up with unusual clarity, while others wake up tired, confused, or spiritually blank. One has secured the night, the other has left it unguarded. Victory is not random. It is the result of consistent spiritual investment. For many, the day feels heavy, not because the challenges are unusually strong, but because they stepped into the day without preparation. The forces that oppose progress are more active at night, and when a believer does not pray, they carry the residue of those battles into the day. But when you engage in deliberate prayer at night, especially before sleeping, you flush out every spiritual residue, break every attack, and program your atmosphere with divine possibilities. You are not just sleeping, you are entering rest under the covering of God. The night also gives you spiritual leverage. When you pray at the hour when darkness is most active, your prayers carry extra weight. You are not praying in the comfort of daylight. You are praying in a spiritually contested environment. That kind of prayer draws more grace, more attention from heaven, and more resistance from darkness, which is proof that your prayer is doing something. Forces that waited to project fear, oppression, confusion, or manipulation into your dreams suddenly lose access. Atmospheres that wanted to drain your energy for the next day are disrupted. Instead of waking up heavy, you wake up refreshed. Instead of waking up fearful, you wake up bold. Instead of waking up uncertain, you wake up guided. Those who master night prayer operate differently. Their day is marked by unusual favor because they have already secured spiritual approval. Their decisions carry divine wisdom because their spirit has been tuned in the night. Their hearts are calm because peace was planted before sleep. Their steps are ordered because directions were received in the silent hours when God whispers the loudest. When you make your night a spiritual altar, your day becomes a field of victory. Even challenges that come during daylight bow to you because your spirit has already risen above them. You no longer fight from weakness, but from a place of pre-established triumph. The day becomes predictable, not because life becomes easy, but because your spirit has been strengthened in the night. The hours between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. carry a depth that many never discern because they have been trained to see time only through the lens of physical routines. But in the realm of the spirit, these hours are not empty, they are charged. They are windows of intensified spiritual activity, moments where the veil between the seen and unseen realms becomes thin. Whoever understands this window of time does not treat it casually. This is a period where spirits travel, decrees are made, destinies are negotiated, and atmospheres are either secured or invaded. It is during this time that a believer's spiritual sensitivity becomes most potent if properly engaged. These hours are significant because a human activity quiets down. The noise of the day, the business, the constant movement, the conversations, the responsibilities, all these things silence the spirit. But at night, especially after midnight, the soul becomes quiet and the spirit of a person rises in sensitivity. Heaven does not necessarily speak louder at night. Rather, humans listen better. The heart is softer, the mind is clearer, and the possibility of spiritual encounters becomes higher. If you train yourself to be alert to God in these hours, you will begin to notice patterns. Your dreams carry clearer messages. Your spirit discerns faster. And your prayers carry unusual potency. This is also the time when warfare intensifies. Darkness thrives in secrecy. And night hours provide an environment for demonic activities to operate more freely. The enemy understands the spiritual power of this window and therefore seeks to manipulate dreams, plant fear, initiate covenants, and project attacks into the lives of those who sleep unguarded. Many people wake up tired, oppressed, confused, or emotionally drained because transactions were made in their dreams while their spirits were passive. What many interpret as just dreams are actually spiritual communications, some divine, some manipulative. The unaware become victims, but the spiritually awake become victors. When you learn to intentionally engage these hours, you shift the spiritual authority of your life. A believer who prays before or during this window becomes spiritually armed. You do not wake up confused because clarity was established in the night. You do not wake up defeated because victory was obtained when the enemy least expected it. You begin to notice that your mornings carry unusual peace. Your decisions throughout the day carry precision. And your spirit remains stable regardless of external pressures. Why? Because the foundation of your day was laid in the night. There is a reason why many divine encounters recorded in scripture happened at night. Dreams, visions, angelic visitations, prophetic instructions. These were often delivered when the world was asleep. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual structure. When you align yourself with the timings of heaven, you become a vessel ready to receive what God is releasing. And when you go to bed having prayed within these hours, you fall asleep covered, spiritually alert, even when physically unconscious. This window, if mastered, becomes a ladder between your spirit and the realm of God. It becomes a training ground where your spiritual sense is sharpened. It is where God pours wisdom, strengthens your inner man, and reveals things that the hurried hours of the day hide. You begin to experience supernatural awareness, knowing things without being told, sensing danger before it appears, and discerning people and situations with unusual accuracy. Those who understand the value of this time rise faster in destiny. They do not live as ordinary men because they do not sleep as ordinary men. They treat the night as a sacred corridor, a spiritual highway, a time when heaven listens closely and darkness watches carefully. And in that awareness, they choose to take advantage of the spiritual climate, using prayer to dominate the atmosphere, enforce divine decrees, and secure their destiny long before the sun rises. There is a mystery in the spirit that many never take seriously: the protection of the night. When a person lies down to sleep, they are at their most vulnerable state, physically unaware, mentally relaxed, and spiritually open. In such a moment, what surrounds them determines what enters them. This is why inviting the ministry of angels into your night is not a spiritual luxury, it is a necessity. The night is not empty. It is a battlefield of invisible movements, a time when demonic projections seek open gates and angelic forces stand ready to defend those who understand the laws of spiritual covering. When you pray for the watch of angels, you are not praying for imagination. You are invoking a real protective system God designed for your safety. In the realm of the spirit, covering is everything. What covers you determines what can reach you. There are people who sleep uncovered and wake up feeling like something was taken from them. Joy, peace, strength, clarity. Others sleep and wake up feeling drained, heavy, or attacked, not realizing that something happened during the hours when their minds were silent. But when angels are invited, the atmosphere of your room becomes saturated with heavenly presence. Darkness cannot operate freely in an environment guarded by divine beings. Fear cannot penetrate a space where angelic assignments are active. The arrows of the night cannot land on a person who has been spiritually shielded. Your prayer becomes the legal authorization that releases these beings into duty. The night carries its own risks because the enemy often works when humans are least attentive. The scriptures describe the night as the time of terror, arrows, pestilence, and destruction, not because these elements do not operate during the day, but because their effects are amplified when a person's defenses are down. This is why praying before sleep is one of the most powerful spiritual habits you can develop. You are not just asking for protection, you are forging a barrier. Angels do not force themselves into your affairs. They respond to spiritual instruction, and prayer is that instruction. When you pray, you create a spiritual perimeter around your space, a boundary demons cannot cross. Angelic protection is not merely about preventing attacks. It also preserves your mental and emotional state. Many attacks do not show up as nightmares. They show up as confusion, anxiety, irritability, sadness, or mental heaviness the next day. These are signs that something tampered with your atmosphere in the night. But when the ministry of angels is activated, they stand guard to ensure that nothing, no voice, no shadow, no projection gains access to your subconscious. Your dreams become clearer because the interference of darkness has been suspended. Your sleep becomes deeper because the unrest caused by negative forces has been neutralized. There are also seasons when a person becomes a target simply because they are rising. Destiny attracts warfare. The more influential your spiritual footprint becomes, the more the enemy seeks to weary, distract, or weaken you. This is why inviting angels is not just defensive. It is prophetic. You are ensuring that nothing touches what God is building in you. You are telling darkness, my night is not your playground. When angels stand watch, your environment becomes consecrated ground. No evil can sit there comfortably. Those who consistently activate angelic protection begin to notice patterns. They sleep peacefully. Their dreams carry divine messages, and they wake up strengthened, not weakened. Their minds remain stable throughout the day. Their hearts carry peace. Their intuition becomes sharper. They are not easily shaken because their spirit rested under the watch of heaven. They do not wake up fighting battles that should have been prevented in the night. Instead, they wake up empowered, aligned, and spiritually refreshed. When you pray, let your angels watch over me, you are choosing to sleep under the government of heaven. It is a declaration that your night is not left to chance. It is a spiritual strategy that positions you above attacks and secures your destiny in the hours when your physical senses rest. And when angels keep watch, your night becomes a sanctuary, not a battleground. When you pray before sleep, asking the Lord to align your heart with His will and to let tomorrow carry the fragrance of divine favor, you are making one of the most powerful spiritual investments any believer can make. Destiny is not shaped only by the big moments of life. It is shaped by the subtle transitions, like the moment between wakefulness and sleep. This is a time when your heart is most honest, your spirit is most open, and your soul is most impressionable. If you learn to intentionally seed these moments with prayer, your life begins to carry a supernatural harmony that others cannot explain. You stop living by guesswork and begin living by divine alignment. Alignment means bringing your desires, your emotions, your plans, and your inner posture into agreement with the will of God. When your heart is aligned, you do not waste energy fighting against the path God is trying to lead you into. You walk in peace because your will is submitted. You make decisions with clarity because your motives are purified. Many of the internal battles people carry into the next day, confusion, anxiety, restlessness, emotional heaviness, are the result of going to sleep with a misaligned heart. Sleep does not reset the heart, prayer does. You cannot sleep into clarity, you pray into it. By the time the sun rises, the spiritual atmosphere of your day has already been established. This is why prayer before sleep is not just protection, it is preparation. You are not waking up hoping the day will treat you kindly. You are prophetically announcing what the day must look like. Favor rarely appears randomly. It responds to an aligned heart. When you pray for alignment before sleeping, favor becomes magnetized to you because God begins to orchestrate your steps, directing you toward people, decisions, and environments that carry the blessings He has prepared. Divine favor is not merely the kindness of people. It is a supernatural advantage that rests on a person. Favor alters how people perceive you, how doors open, how opportunities meet you, and how obstacles dissolve. Favor is the fragrance of God upon a life, something that cannot be bought, forced, or manipulated. It is bestowed upon those whose hearts consistently remain in harmony with His will. When you ask God to make your tomorrow carry favor, you are asking Him to orchestrate events, rearrange circumstances, and prepare encounters that will work for your good. You are asking Him to make your life smell like His presence. This prayer also prevents you from carrying today's frustrations into tomorrow. Many people sleep with anger, disappointment, fear, or regret, and these emotions leak into the next day. A misaligned heart produces a misaligned destiny. But when you pray, Lord, align my heart with your will, you are allowing Him to cleanse you from emotional residue. Your sleep becomes a place of healing rather than a place where wounds deepen. You rise with a light spirit, a clear mind, and a strengthened will. Prayer before sleep recalibrates your desires. You begin to want what God wants. You begin to lose appetite for distractions. You start to sense when something is not part of God's plan. Your spirit develops sensitivity, and you gain the ability to walk away from what is good but not divine. Alignment produces discernment, and discernment is what positions you for favor. Then, when you wake up, your day carries a supernatural ease. Conversations flow with grace. Decisions become clearer. Doors that were once closed begin to open. People who previously ignored you become unusually helpful. It is not because you changed overnight. It is because your heart aligned itself with heaven's agenda before sleep. And heaven responded by decorating your tomorrow with favor. A person who ends their night with alignment begins their day with advantage. This is the secret of spiritual momentum. What you declare before you sleep becomes the atmosphere you wake up in. When you ask for alignment and favor, you are scripting your tomorrow in the language of heaven. There is a kind of cry that rises from the depths of the human spirit, a cry that reveals hunger, desperation, and total surrender. When you pray, Lord, whatever you are doing in this season, do not do it without me. You are declaring that you refuse to live as an observer in your own generation. You refuse to be among those who watch God move while remaining unchanged and uninvolved. You are announcing to heaven that you want to participate in divine activity, not just witness it. This prayer is not about ambition, it is about alignment. It is about positioning your life under the waterfall of God's agenda so that nothing He is releasing in your season passes you by. God moves in seasons. Destiny unfolds in patterns. There are moments when heaven releases instructions, open doors, relationships, directions, and grace. There are windows of opportunity that do not last forever. When your spirit becomes sensitive to this, you stop living casually. You begin to understand the weight of timing. Some breakthroughs only come when you are rightly positioned. Some doors only open when you are aligned with divine currents. When you say, do not do it without me, you are acknowledging that God is actively working, even when you cannot see it. And you want your life to be synchronized with His movement. Many people miss divine seasons because their hearts are distracted. They are too busy, too offended, too attached to the wrong things, too emotionally burdened, or too spiritually passive to discern when God is opening a new chapter. Heaven speaks, but their hearts are crowded. God moves, but their focus is elsewhere. But a person who prays this prayer is telling God, I am available. I am attentive. I am ready to shift with you. Availability is one of the greatest currencies in the spirit. God does not always look for the strongest or the most gifted. He looks for the yielded. A yielded spirit can carry divine assignments. This prayer also confronts spiritual complacency. It is easy to become comfortable, to remain in familiar territories, to settle for yesterday's victories. But when God is advancing his purposes in a generation, those who remain stuck in comfort zones are left behind. Spiritual movements require flexibility, sensitivity, and willingness. When you say, "Do not do it without me," you are asking God to stretch you, mold you, refine you, and make you ready for what he is releasing. You are letting him know that you are willing to break old patterns, release old habits, and embrace new responsibilities if that is what alignment requires. There is also a prophetic dimension to this cry. When heaven is preparing to release promotion, influence, ideas, strategies, or revival, there is always a stirring in the spirit of those who are chosen to carry such grace. This stirring is what many people feel as dissatisfaction, restlessness, unusual hunger, or a sudden desire for more. It is the Spirit signaling that something is shifting. When you pray this prayer, you give language to that stirring. You connect your internal hunger with heaven's external movement, and God responds to hunger. Hunger is a magnet for divine activity. When God finds a heart that is thirsty, he pours. When he finds a spirit that is willing, he assigns. When he finds someone who is ready to move, he accelerates them into purpose. This prayer is not about asking God to bless your plans. It is about asking him to include you in his plans. And God's plans always lead to transformation, elevation, and spiritual depth. There is also protection in this prayer. When you insist on being part of what God is doing, you automatically distance yourself from environments, relationships, and opportunities that would derail your destiny. God cannot include you in his movement while allowing you to remain tied to things that sabotage your growth. So this prayer becomes a cleansing process. It removes what is unnecessary and strengthens what is essential. It aligns you with divine timing, divine people, and divine assignments. When you pray, "Lord, do not do it without me," you are not begging, you are positioning. You are asking heaven to mark you, mold you, and move you. You are telling God that you are willing to be part of the generation that responds, not the generation that sleeps. And when God finds such a heart, he does not pass it by. He includes it, empowers it, and establishes it as a vessel through which his purposes can be revealed. There is a dimension in God that becomes accessible only to those who understand the power of night prayer, especially during the hours when the natural world sleeps, but the spiritual realm remains intensely active. When you choose to engage in prayer at night, you are not merely performing a routine. You are entering a realm of alignment where heaven's activities become synchronized with your destiny. Night prayer is one of the master keys that keeps a believer from missing the seasons of God. It anchors your spirit in sensitivity, sharpens your discernment, and positions you to receive what heaven is releasing in your generation. Many divine seasons come quietly. They do not always announce themselves with miracles, visions, or prophecies. Sometimes they come wrapped in discomfort, unusual restlessness, sudden hunger, or the feeling that something is shifting in your life. Those who do not understand spiritual timings misinterpret these signals as stress or emotional instability. But a heart trained in night prayer recognizes them as indicators of divine movement. Prayer keeps your spirit awake. It prevents you from sleeping when heaven is stirring. It ensures that you are not spiritually distant when God is drawing nearer. To miss the season of God is one of the greatest tragedies in destiny. Men do not just fail because of demonic attacks. Many fail because they were absent when God was visiting. They were spiritually dull when instructions were being given. They were emotionally distracted when doors were being opened. They were too entangled in their own desires to notice that heaven had changed direction. But when your night is charged with prayer, your inner man becomes aligned. Your spirit becomes sensitive enough to detect even the slightest shift in the atmosphere. Praying at night trains your spirit in vigilance. While your body sleeps, your spiritual antenna remains active. Dreams become more prophetic. Intuition becomes sharper. You wake up with inner warnings, inner peace, or inner guidance without knowing how you know. This is because prayer before sleep lifts your spirit above the noise of the day and positions you to receive signals from heaven. Those signals guide your decisions, relationships, and movements in profound ways. Missing one divine instruction can cost a person months or years, but receiving one can accelerate destiny in a moment. There are also seasons when God is distributing assignments, graces, and opportunities. These things do not fall randomly. They fall on prepared hearts. Many times, preparation happens in the secrecy of night prayer. It is there that God corrects your motives, expands your capacity, purifies your desires, and strengthens your resolve. It is there that He whispers instructions that shape your future. You cannot afford to be spiritually disconnected when God is making decisions about whom to raise, whom to send, whom to equip, and whom to favor. Night prayer ensures you are present. Furthermore, night prayer protects you from spiritual substitutes. When God begins to shift your season, the enemy often releases distractions that look like blessings but are designed to derail you. Without discernment, a person may choose something good but miss something divine. But a heart trained in night prayer senses the difference. Prayer builds a kind of inner guidance system that warns you when something is wrong, even if it looks right. This keeps you aligned with God's path and prevents destiny detours. Night prayer also opens you to divine encounters. Encounters are heaven's way of accelerating a person's life. One encounter can change your perception, your direction, and your entire spiritual stature. But encounters rarely meet the passive. They find the burning, the seeking, the awakened. When heaven begins to release encounters in a generation, it is those whose spirits have been consistently aligned in prayer, especially at night, who are chosen. When you commit yourself to night prayer, you are saying to God, I refuse to be spiritually unconscious. I want to be part of what you are doing. I want to hear, see, and move when you speak. And God honors such commitment. He ensures that you do not miss the seasons, shifts, instructions, or blessings He releases. Your life becomes synchronized with the rhythm of heaven, and destiny unfolds with grace, clarity, and supernatural accuracy.